Welcome! This quick video will get you familiar with resource planning in OnePlan. First, we'll look at an existing plan and get familiar with some terminology and getting around. You will use these icons and menus to change how your resource plan shows, build your resource plan, and then analyze your resource plan. When viewing or building your resource plan, use this icon to toggle between different unit modes. The system calculates between hours to FTE, which stands for full-time equivalent. In other words, one full-time person. And FTE percent, or the percentage of a full-time person. Here we see cost types. Cost types allow organizations to calculate, evaluate, and monitor how resources are being allocated. There are possible, and often likely, differences between how our resources' time is initially planned, booked onto specific work, and then actually spent. The resource plan allows multiple cost types, so you may analyze the differences. You can toggle from one cost type to another. The reason these groupings are called cost types is because the resource plan hours may be converted to costs when they are imported into the financial plan. The rate for each resource, according to their role or other cost category factor, would be multiplied by the number of hours to get the financial value of that resource's time. Your organization may have similar or different cost types depending on business use case and configuration. Here are some example use cases that may apply. Committed hours would be the initial plan, generally estimated at a high level. This is also referred to as top-down planning. The scheduled hours cost type would be the totals from the detailed task schedule. You could import the task schedule hours into this resource plan cost type. The actual hours cost type would be the time spent on this plan. You could import the timesheet hours into this resource plan cost type. Change the date range of your view as needed. Select one of the preset date ranges, or to set a custom range, zoom to month, quarter, or years, then select the desired time frame, and click Apply. Select the Filter menu to filter your resource plan view. Each filter you select stays with a checkmark noted, so you may make multiple selections to further filter your view. Deselect any single filter at a time by selecting it again, or to clear all filters, click Clear Filters. Notes may be entered per resource plan row. If any notes have already been entered, a little post-it icon will show next to the resource name. To view the notes, open the row menu, then click Notes. Each resource plan row has statuses, either proposed or committed. When a row is first added, the default status is Proposed, which shows as a blue dot. Then when ready, the row can be changed to Committed, which shows as a green checkmark. There is an advanced OnePlan feature called Negotiations. If enabled, both the plan owner or project manager and the resource manager would both need to agree on the resource allocation in order for the row to change from draft status to proposed to committed. This is an example from a group that has the negotiation feature enabled. There is a P column and an R column where the plan owner and the resource manager mark a row as committed individually. Once both have agreed, the entire row becomes fully committed. If the public-private feature is enabled, an additional column will show. If the row is public, the eye icon will show. If the row is private, the eye icon will have a little circle with a line through it covering part of the eye. Note that only public rows will show in the reports and on the All Plans resource plan page. Here you see an icon next to each resource's name. It is either a person for a named user, or it's a robot for a generic resource. Click the Resource Pane icon to show the resource pane in the lower half of your screen. This is where you can see where else the team resources are allocated. This is beneficial to first see who is already booked or has availability before or after adding to your plan. By default, the current plan's resources will show. Expand any resource to see where else that resource is being utilized. Each other plan will list below that resource name. The colors signify the percentage of the resource's remaining availability. So for example, the color will shift from green to yellow to orange to red as the resource becomes overbooked beyond capacity. Click the resource pane icon again to hide the resource pane. To export your resource plan, first be sure you're in the desired cost type and date range, then select the preferred export format. Next, we'll go through the steps to build your own resource plan. Now let's build a new resource plan. Navigate to the resource plan page for your plan if not already there. Make sure you're in the desired cost type. To begin, click the Add Booking button. The booking form will load. Fill in the form with the resource name, whether a named user or a generic resource, and the date range for the allocation. For allocation type, select hours per month, percentage allocation, or total hours. If you select total hours, the hours will be divided evenly across the time selected between the booking dates. Click Add when done. To quickly add a new row to your resource plan, begin typing the resource name into the Add Resource box. You may add both generic resources and named users this way. Select the desired date range, if not already showing, and if you adjust your dates between longer and shorter periods of times, your values will adjust accordingly. Before you manually enter any values into the resource plan, verify you have the correct units of measure selected, either hours, percentage, or FTE. You may use your mouse or your keyboard to quickly maneuver around the resource plan. To update a resource's allocation via the booking form, select the row for that resource, then click Allocate. Put in the new allocation that you want to enter. Be sure to update the booking dates and allocation type, and then click Add. Please note that this will overwrite what was previously in those specific booking dates time periods. If you enter values into larger periods of time, then change your view back to smaller, such as months. The values will be equally split across the months within that larger period of time. If the private public feature is enabled, you may change any private row to public by clicking on the private eye icon, and it will change to public. Or to change all rows to public at once, click the Make Public icon in your menu and confirm by clicking Yes. To remove a resource from your resource plan, select the row menu, then delete resource. Verify by clicking OK. As mentioned, you may want to review where else your team is allocated to other plans. Open the resource pane to do so. You may also need to update your plan's resources. If, for example, you had originally planned for generic resources as placeholders, but now need to allocate specific named people to the plan. Or perhaps you had a named resource, but they're overbooked. You now need to replace that committed resource with someone who has availability. Who does these actions varies between organizations. Sometimes it's the plan owner, project manager, scrum master, etc. Sometimes it is the department or functional manager who determines the best assigned person. Use the Find Resource menu to filter and find the desired type of resource, such as filtering by department or another resource level field. To add a new resource to your plan, select the name, then click the Add Resource button. You would then fill in the amount of time needed for that resource you just added. When you have a resource who is overbooked, you may need to find another resource who can do the work instead. Select the desired replacement resource. Then, in the lower resource pane, select the new resource who will be replacing. Be sure to have both rows selected at the top and the bottom, and then click Replace Resource. The allocation will remain the same, but the new resource name will replace the previous. To change the status of a resource plan row, if negotiations are not in use, simply click the status icon and change the status from proposed committed. Here again is a group that has negotiations enabled. As the plan owner, you would follow the same steps and use the same tools to build out your resource plan. The primary difference is that the plan owner, shown as a P, and the resource manager, shown as an R, both need to follow the next steps for the row to be fully committed. Select the row, then click the Submit icon. Your icon will show as a green check mark, and the status will be approved. The other column will show as a blue question mark for waiting approval, and the row status changes from draft to proposed. Once the other responsible party user also follows the same steps to submit the row, their column changes as well to the green check mark, and the row status becomes fully committed. The resource manager settings are managed by your admin. If you are a resource manager, such as for a specific department, role, or other, you can also delegate others to review and approve resource plans. You would click the delegates icon. Any group, such as your department, for which you are the manager, will be listed, and then you could designate any other users as a delegate as needed. Follow these steps and options to continue building out and maintaining your resource plan.